Well, hello everybody. For those of you that have been on my channel for a while, you should recognize that I'm on Chesterwoods Lake down near Rochester, Minnesota. When we closed on our Ely house back in November last year, I took my canoes up there, put them in the garage over the winter, and thought that they were going to stay up there from now on, and that I'd never be out paddling Chesterwoods Lake again. Of course, what I didn't know at the time was that my wife, Pat, would be scheduled for a hip replacement at the beginning of June, and that I'd have to spend most of the month of June back in Rochester with her, recuperating from that surgery. And given that I was going to be here for the whole month of June, and June's a great month to be paddling, I decided to bring one of my canoes back with me so I'd have something to paddle. So here I am. Didn't think I'd be here, but here I am. Anyway, today is Monday, June 14th, 2021. Beth had her surgery a week ago today, on the 7th. And so this is my first opportunity to get out paddling since then. She is showing some improvement. Of course, it's not a steady improvement. She's got good days and she's got bad days. But the bad days keep getting a little bit better, and so do the good days. So I only felt comfortable tonight leaving her alone for a couple hours while I came out and played. I tell you, those first few days, I'm not cut out for 24-hour nursing. Just, boy, it was getting to me. I wasn't getting much sleep at night because she was getting up quite frequently, and she needed my help every time she got up. But it's been getting gradually better. Easier to take. Been able to start doing some of my own things like this. Not sure how long it's going to be before I can leave her completely on her own, or until she can travel up to Ely with me, because right now spending that much time in the car is pretty much out of the question. Well, it is out of the question. And next week she has to go back in for her first post-op appointment anyway, so for sure we wouldn't be able to go in until, or go up until after she's had that appointment. And who knows how long after that. So yeah, I'm down here on Chesterwoods, and paddling and shooting and giving you a little bit of an update. I'd like to introduce you to a couple of new things I've got here. First of all, the gimbal. Not really new. I talked about it in a couple of videos. I showed it to in indoors in, I think, a February update, something like that. But anyway, here it is in use. I've used it a couple of times since I introduced it. I've got my I have my Nikon W300 mounted to it right now, which is what I'm probably going to use it with most of the time. But anyway, using the gimbal, I can now get those smooth, those really smooth shots. Like when I'm paddling, there'll be no more of the flexing shoreline that people noted in the past. The other nice thing is that the gimbal will hold the camera horizontal all the time, so there's not going to be any you know, when I was taking a lot of the side shots before, I couldn't always see on the screen whether the camera was aligned or not, so there were a lot of sloping shorelines involved, as well as the flexing shoreline. So now with the gimbal, camera is always going to be level, and it's also going to move with the movement of the boat. Like you can see here, it's kind of, as I tilt the boat back and forth, the camera stays level. So that's going to get rid of all the flexible shoreline that you were seeing before. So anyway, yeah, I've already taken one video. Well, I've taken a few videos with it. I had it along on our February winter camp with Minnesota mostly. I had a few little teething problems there, so I wasn't able to use it all the time, but I was impressed with the shots I got with it, the clips I got with it. More recently, I went on a one-day, overnight on Johnson Lake a couple of weeks ago, and used it quite a bit on that trip, and again was very impressed with the results. Now the other thing that I just got recently is this DJI Osmo Osmo action camera. Basically like a GoPro, only a heck of a lot less expensive. I'm replacing my Nikon AW130 with this camera because the 130 just doesn't have the quality, and to me at least it was glaringly obvious when I was using that camera versus my W300 as far as the quality I was getting. And I thought about getting another W300, but it's got some problems that I've been working around, but not real excited about it. And then I stumbled across this. Of course, it's got some of the limitations that an action camera has. It's a fixed lens, there's no zoom involved with it, which is why I'm hanging on to the W300, because that I've got the zoom capability. Another nice thing about the Osmo is that it has 4K capability. My Nikon W300 also has 4K capability, so now I have the capability of, at least sometimes, shooting 4K videos, like tonight for instance. Now unfortunately my SLR is still limited to HD, so when I use the SLR, which I like to do because of the sound quality, I'm going to be limited to doing 1080p because I can only go as high a resolution as, you know, the weak link, and the SLR becomes the weak link in that case. So, but anyway, outings like this where I don't have to use the SLR, using these two cameras together, I can now shoot 4K videos. So one thing I like about the Osmo, now like I said, this is like a GoPro. The camera has actually been out for a couple of years now, and when it came out, the GoPro Hero 7 was the camera of the day, the GoPro of the day. First came out, the reviews at the time rated this very favorably with the Hero 7 that was in use at the time. And especially since it's about half the price of what the GoPro cameras are. More recent reviews, now that the Hero 9 is out, still rate this very favorably versus the GoPro. And it's still, well, it's actually less than half the cost of a GoPro. So it is waterproof. It does say to limit, only have it in the water for about 30 minutes. Whereas things like my W300, there's no time limit. I don't think this can go quite as deep as the Nikon, but I don't use it underwater anyway. But it is waterproof, so it's going to be okay on rainy days in the boundary waters. And like the Hero 9, it doesn't require a case to be waterproof, so you don't lose any sound quality when you have, because you don't have a case. So yeah, it just seemed like the right time to get one. I did, like I said, I did consider getting a W300, but there's several problems with the W300 that I won't go into here. Well, other than the one glaring one is when it's moving around, like when I'm walking with it and stuff like that, you can hear a clicking sound from it. Now, the nice thing about mounting it on the gimbal is it doesn't shake around, so you don't get the clicking sound. So that's why that's probably going to be on the gimbal from now on. But a lot of other things, and also, you know, it's over. That's becoming a dated camera itself. I'm not sure when it came out, but it's been out for several years, and they're still charging well over $300 for the thing. Whereas again, this thing was just under $200 for the Osmo. So very cost competitive, nice contact camera. I really wish I had had this last year for the Sammy Cam, and there's two reasons I wish I'd had that. One thing, it's so much smaller and lighter. It probably wouldn't have been as prone to falling off to the side like the camera did. The other thing is that this has what's called rock steady image stabilization. According to the reviews I was seeing, when they talked about rock steady, it almost gives you the stabilization that a gimbal provides. You can run with it and everything else, and the shot that you're shooting stays very, very, very stable. Now, of course, it's not going to keep the camera from tilting side to side and that type of thing, but at least as far as the image stabilization goes, like I said, it's supposed to be very, very close to having it on a gimbal. So again, if I'd had this mounted, if I could have used this with the Sammy Cam, that footage would have been a lot more stable. Of course, some people really liked the fact that it was jerking around so much, but I think it would have been just that little bit better. A very nice thing about this camera is that it has this front screen that you can switch to, and so why did it turn off? Switch screens. Unfortunately, it has voice control, which is both a good thing and a bad thing. So using that, then I can get a better idea that I'm actually talking to the camera, that I have it pointed correctly. I can make sure I'm well composed when I'm shooting pictures of myself instead of having to guess whether the camera is actually pointing at me or not, which is the case with all my other well, most of my other cameras. So let me give you a little bit of a channel update. This last Friday, the part 2 of my October New Waters trip went live. Hopefully you've had a chance to see that. Going forward, part 3 will release the Friday after that, which is, let's see, what are we getting up to now? That was the 11th, so the 18th, the part 3 will be available. And part 4 will be available the Friday after that, which is the 25th of June. And I mentioned before that a week ago I took a one-night trip out on Johnson Lake. So I've already edited that video, and I'm really happy with it. It's a little bit long, it's almost an hour long, because I did it all in one part. Otherwise it would have been like 50 minutes and 10 minutes for part 2. But I'm really, like I said, I used the gimbal very extensively on that. I had plenty of time and battery power where I was able to get the kinds of shots that I really like to get. Multiple cameras running at the same time. Well, 2 at a time anyway. That's multiple. You know, so different viewpoints. You know, did things like taking pictures of myself leaving the landing, or a video of myself leaving the landing and then having to go back for the camera. Stuff like that. So, had a lot of fun with it. I'm really happy with the results, and I hope you guys are too. So, that'll be going public, or the first Friday of July, as I think it's like the 2nd, maybe. So, those are the videos that are in the hopper, already to roll. They haven't all been uploaded to YouTube yet, but they've at least been edited and rendered. So all I have to do is get them uploaded. Of course, I gotta get this one edited and uploaded, which I hope I can do. It's Monday today, so hopefully I can get it done. Should be fairly simple. Get it done by maybe Wednesday. I don't know. Anyway, hopefully get it out before Friday. So my question is where to go after I have that Johnson Lake video published, because obviously not going to be going on any more trips between now and then. Might come out here, well, I hope to get out here paddling a few more times, but I'm not going to be filming every time I come out here. So I think I'm going to dig into the archives and dig up some of the videos that I always intended to do and just never got around to doing. I've often talked about the visit to Ricketts Glen. Boy, that might have been 3 years ago now. It's almost done, but I want to go back and rework it, and sometimes reworking it might actually be better for me to just start over again. Especially since I've changed video editors since I worked on that. Don't know. I'll have to see. I'll have to see what happens. So that's one possibility. And of course, that same trip out east, I also visited the Hocking Hills area of Ohio. Got some good footage there. I actually think I got better footage there than I did at Ricketts Glen. And that video is also partly done, again with my old editor. So those are a couple of possibilities. The other thing is a couple of years ago, I took a week-long trip out to Teddy Roosevelt National Park out in North Dakota. Got lots and lots and lots of pictures and videos from that one, and that's going to be a multi-part film for sure. Also that same year, I think it was that same year, I did a North Shores trip that again never got edited or anything. And that's going to be another multi-parter because that was a multi-day trip. And again, a lot of video and photos to share with you from that trip. So I've got a lot of directions I could go. If you have a preference for what you'd like me to show or work on next, make a comment down below, and we'll see. Of course, maybe you don't care, in which case, well, I'll do what I think is appropriate. I know I've been talking about Ricketts Glen for quite a while, and I just never seem to get to it. And quite frankly, every time I get back to it, I have more and more problems with it. Ricketts Glen has something like 22, 24 waterfalls, all within one state park out in New York State. And the more I look at what I did there, I was so intent on making sure that I saw each and every waterfall that I didn't stop, and I didn't approach it very artistically, let's put it that way. I basically took what's known as record shots of most of the waterfalls. Didn't really look for unique angles. You know, of course this is a place that gets visited by millions of people probably every year. And really, to get a good photograph that's not going to look like everybody else's photograph, you've really got to work at it. And I didn't do that. I just basically showed up at a waterfall, found the obvious way to shoot it, and shot it, and moved on to the next one. And like I said, every time I look at both my photos and my videos from that trip, I get more and more disgusted with myself, the way that I did it. Which could be another reason that I'm dragging my feet so much about getting it actually done. So anyway, we'll see what I do after this. Of course, depending on when I get this posted, you may not get a choice. I might already be working on something. We'll see. Anyway, I think it's time for me to call it quits. The sun's pretty much gone. Only a few people left out here on the lake. So I think it's time to head for the barn. So, as always, thanks for watching. Any questions for me, please let me know in the comments. I always enjoy the comments anyway. So, thanks for watching. If you're not subscribed, I hope you do so. If you haven't watched a lot of my other videos, I hope you do that. And yeah, likes, comments, always appreciated. And hope to see you on trail someday, watery or otherwise. Nibby Mox out.